Another defeat, but I'm still positive. I'm not worrying too much just yet. I'm still. I'm actually buzzing for the game next week already, and I haven't felt like that for years. But anyway, tonight joining me is Harry. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Craig. Thank you for having me again. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Very well indeed. And a new guest this evening, Lee Gunner's twin brother. It's Lee Gunner Positive. How are you, Lee Gunner Positive?
Yeah, it's like somebody's flipped a switch, isn't it? It's mad. But, yeah, I'm very well. Thanks for having me on, mate. Appreciate it.
Not at all.
Yeah, loads of positives, mate. Loads of positives. I don't buy into all this negativity and stuff.
Not at the moment. Not after 2 games, anyway. I mean,
let's at least give it one more.
One more go. Yeah, if we lose to West Ham, then I think even if we lost to West Ham, I still think I'd still be biting my lip and give it to the next game. Hello to everyone watching us on Periscope. Hello to everyone watching us on YouTube, and hello to everyone watching us on Facebook. Last week I tried to use this to do the podcast, but failed miserably. So I've done a bit of research, and it seems to be working okay now. If you can hear us and you're watching on YouTube, can you just let me know? And if you can hear us and you're watching on Periscope, can you let me know? Because I've got a little comment box up here. It's a bit flashy, all this. I don't know. It's too much. It's a bit more flashy than Google Hangouts anyway. Anyway, stop blabbering now. Harry, Chelsea. Started off the same old Arsenal. 1-0 down, 2-0 down, 2 bits of horrible defending saw us go 2-0 down. But what about the boys digging in and getting it back to 2-2?
Yeah, I thought, as you said, we started with the same old rubbish. Defence was all over the place, runners coming for the first goal, for example, Alonso making a run down the flank, Mkhitaryan didn't track him, gaping holes in our defence. It's pretty much the same old, as you said. But then we showed some character and we showed some fight and we got back into the game, and we were perhaps unfortunate not to be ahead going in at half time. So definitely a lot of positives to take out of this game. Some really good individual performances from probably Guendouzi and Iwobi, I would say, who's taken a lot of stick from Arsenal fans of late. But there was also a couple of little negatives, but we'll come into those later. I'll let Lee tell us his thoughts.
We'll let Lee dissect that. Lee, a game of fine margins, but I mean, another day, Aubameyang smashes that one in for 1-1. Turns the game completely on its head, and we could have gone on to win. We could have gone in at half-time 2-3, 4-1 up. But the footballing gods, said it wasn't to be. An awful glaring miss by Aubameyang and of course, by Mkhitaryan. Like I said, any other day, they'd bang them in. But, Lee, what was your overall feeling of the game?
Well, when it was 2-0, I was just in shock. I was like, oh, mate, here we go again on another away trip. First one of the season. I've watched us get taken apart away from home quite a lot last season. So, yeah, it was good that we come back so quickly after we went 2-0 down as well. I mean, like Harry's just said about Aubameyang, if you'd put anything on him scoring that at 1-0, but then it was just such a kick in the teeth that they went straight down the other end and went 2-1. And it was just a simple diagonal long ball, and they just bypassed our whole team with that one long ball. And when I said this to somebody earlier on, when a striker, even though I don't rate Morata, he is a decent footballer, right? When he is running full pelt, jinking, twisting, step overs, whatever, and a centre back's running backwards, off balance, trying to read where he's going to go, 9 times out of 10 it will result in a shot hitting the target. So I don't blame Mustafi for the goal at all. It was just a one diagonal ball, and we see that a lot last season. But like I said, to come back so quickly and Mkhitaryan getting us to 2-1, that gave us belief. And then obviously we equalise, but then Iwobi misses an absolute sitter to put us in the lead. And it's just like, oh mate, at half time I was gutted because that could have been embarrassing for Chelsea with the Aubameyang miss, 2 misses. Mkhitaryan missed one that was a decent effort that he should have scored. then obviously the Iwobi one. But I was thinking like second half we could come out and we could nick it, but obviously it didn't pan out like that in the end. But I look at the positives that come from that. I've never seen Arsenal create that many clear-cut chances at Stamford Bridge ever, or for as long as I can remember anyway. I thought Iwobi was outstanding. I was shocked he came off actually. I would have took Mkhitaryan off. I thought although he got a goal and an assist, I thought overall he was quite poor. And I thought Iwobi, he was probably, between him and Guendouzi, probably the two, well, they were the two best players on the pitch, but arguably Iwobi was man of the match. So yeah, all in all, it's a loss, and it's the second one of the season, but after seeing that was a lot better performance than it was against Man City.
Yeah.
And that gives me loads of confidence going into West Ham. I think we'll go into that, and yeah, we'll probably put their manager bang under pressure for his job after we've finished with him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to West Ham.
Harry, I watched an interview with Emery today, and he was saying that it's important that we fix the things that we do wrong, and that he's always looking, for what we're doing wrong. And one thing he said that I nearly dropped down onto my knees and shouted hallelujah was that he needs to find the balance. Previous manager probably wasn't really too bothered with that. We saw it time and time again, putting round pegs into square holes. It really feels like Emery wants to put the right pegs in the right holes, from what he's saying. What do you feel? What did you make of him substituting Ozil?
I thought it was refreshing to see a manager hook off a player that wasn't performing despite him being the star of the club. I thought it was great to see, Ozil hasn't performed. I know we've only played against City and Chelsea, but he hasn't performed. So it's nice to see that nobody's immune to being taken off when they're not doing the business. Going back to Emery though for a second, when you said about he's looking to find the balance, I actually thought, and I don't want this to be taken in a negative way because I know people are going to jump on my back when I say this, but I actually thought that Emery made a couple of mistakes at the weekend, and that's why we ended up losing the game. And what I mean by that is I felt that, look, Granit Xhaka deserves a lot of the criticism he gets. Don't get me wrong, he performed poorly at times, but I felt like we went in at half-time 2-2 with the momentum, and there was no need to make that change. I know he was on a yellow card, but that's not reason to take a player off. He took him off. I felt like we got dominated in the middle of the park as a result. Sarri looked at us and thought, do you know what? Now that Xhaka is not on the pitch, I can get away with sticking another ball player in the midfield. On came Kovacic. They completely dominated us in the middle of the park, passed the ball around us, wore us down, and eventually got the winning goal. So there was that, and then I thought it was wrong to bring Alex Lacazette on as well. I thought Iwobi had a great game. Maybe he was tired, but if that's the case, it's 2-2. There's 15 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. Get Elneny on and shore things up. Don't bring on another striker and ask Aubameyang to go on the left wing and defend. And I just thought, Emery has to find the balance. That's absolutely correct. I'm not getting on his back. These are just observations that I made. I know it's going to take time for him to understand his squad, who's good at what and what their strengths and weaknesses are. So I'm not in any way criticizing him. I just feel like those are a couple of observations I made, and I don't know what you guys think about that.
I was quite puzzled to see. The substitution at the beginning of the second half, because, like you said, I thought that we had the momentum. I was hoping that we were going to come out and straight away get at them again. So yeah, I was very puzzled to see that substitution. Perhaps Emery perhaps Emery was trying to shore up at the back and allow the front players to get a bit more forward with Torreira by bringing him on. But so yeah, I was the same as you, mate. I was very puzzled. I called for Iwobi to come in the team. Got absolutely slated for it on Twitter for a week. And gets man of the match. But what do I know? Lee Gunner, what were you impressed with Iwobi's performance?
Yeah, I actually called for him to start as well. I called that all week as well. I thought last year when we played him there, he was the best player that day as well. I know we ended up drawing, but what he gives us is something different. He will actually turn, and 99 times out of 100, his first thought is to turn and go forward. And that's different because last year, especially, most of our passes were sideways and backwards. So I called for him to start, and he didn't let any of us down. He was absolutely brilliant, mate. He was running at them. He was and it looks like he's bulked up this summer as well. Yeah. He looked massive at the weekend. So, he didn't shirk any of the physical side of it either. And yeah, I was proud of him at the weekend, man. Like, he gets a lot of stick, like, from pretty much all of our fans. Like, everyone gives him stick. I've been guilty of doing it as well. But
no, we've all done that.
When he signed that new contract, I thought, yeah, well, if the manager wants him, then he's obviously seen something. And the first time he comes into the starting 11 and plays a game this season, he scores and sets up the first goal. So, yeah, fair play to him, mate. And I hope he has a wicked season because let's be honest here, right? He's only 21, 22, whatever he is. He's never had a loan, and he's never had a consistent run of 10, 15, 20 games. So he's always in and out of the team. 1 week he's on the right wing, next week he's left wing, then he's playing at number 10. So I hope that we find a position for him and give him a 10, 15 game run. And then we'll see where he's at the end of that, because he has got the ability. We've seen that when he first burst onto the scene. So, yeah, I was chuffed for him at the weekend. Just one thing I wanted to say as well, very quickly. I disagree with both of you on the Xhaka substitution. I thought he was absolutely rubbish in that first half. And I know that it's great looking back at it now and saying, well, it changed the momentum, etc., etc. I don't necessarily think it did, because I think that what Torreira gives us is completely different to what Xhaka gives us. Xhaka can't turn. He's so slow at turning and getting back. People just glide past him. His tackles are erratic most of the time, whereas Torreira came on and you could see that he was just so many levels above Xhaka. And I don't think that it was necessarily our substitutions that cost us the game. I think it was more Chelsea substitutions won them the game. Do you know what I mean? Kovacic was brilliant when he came on. And Hazard, although he didn't really do anything major, I know he got the assist for their winner, but him being on the pitch made us drop back 5-10 yards. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, there we go.
I get what you're saying. The point I'm trying to make is not so much that it's because it was Granit Xhaka or it's because it was Alex Iwobi. It's more kind of affecting the balance of the team. And for me, that's a really important thing that Arsene Wenger just couldn't get right. He couldn't find the right balance in the team. And if you look at the first half, we had a lot more possession than we did in the second half because Xhaka was willing to drop deep. And if you watch it back again, watch how many times he picked the ball up from the centre half or the right or left back. That wasn't happening in the second half. It simply wasn't happening. Torreira, for me, as good as I think he will be, and all summer I've been raving about him and saying, he's the best signing we've made. I don't think he played that well on Saturday. I thought he looked a little bit physically overpowered. And I know people say he's a little terrier and this and that, but I thought he just looked a little bit out of sorts. And maybe it's because he wasn't fit. But for me, it just changed the dynamic of our midfield. And that allowed Chelsea to get on the ball more and dictate things. And as Pep Guardiola's philosophy tells you, if you have the ball, you're more likely to score. The more you have the ball, the more you suffocate your opponent. They get tired chasing and eventually the cracks will appear. And I just think that's what's happened.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get what you're saying, man. I do agree that Elneny should have come on instead of Lacazette, though. You're away from home, your first home game after you've already lost a game. Maybe just try and shore it up and just dig in and get out of there with a draw. A point's better than nothing, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I kind of agree with that. But on the flip side of that, I did like the fact that he thought he could go for it and try and nick the win. But obviously that didn't happen. But it felt, looking at the substitutions he's made in the two games we've played, like you said earlier about Ozil being substituted, that just shows that he ain't scared to whip anybody off if you don't feel they're playing well, or if he wants to change a formation or a shape or whatever. And I like that. We made 3 substitutions against Chelsea by 74 minutes. One of them was at half time. So, that we haven't seen that at Arsenal for a long, long time. And I'm glad that we've now got somebody who's like, not just going to bow down and pick players or keep players on for 90 minutes just based on reputation.
I don't think he'll be here next summer, going back to Ozil. Harry, what do you think? I think he just causes so much frustration. I just want to, I've said it before, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I just want to grab him and shake him and say, come on, what's wrong with you? We know what you can do. You know what you can do. We've all seen it. The world has seen it. Why aren't you doing it? Harry, why isn't he not doing it in an Arsenal shirt?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I think about this all the time. Why can he sometimes be brilliant and sometimes be so bad and look so disinterested? I think his body language is a big thing. I think a lot of people read into his body language a little bit too much. I saw him a couple of times at the weekend turn around and blast his teammates, most notably just before he got sent off. There was a ball around the edge of our penalty area and he just volleyed it away and he turned around and gave the centre-halves an absolute blasting. So I don't think he doesn't care. I think with Ozil, his body language can be misleading. I think we need to just put that to one side and just accept that that's not his character and forget about that. You're not going to see Ozil grabbing people and kissing the badge and all that stuff. It's just not in his character. I don't think he'll leave Arsenal anytime soon. And I say that because from the club's point of view, Ozil is a brand, and we were talking about this on the radio the other day. The amount of followers he has across all the social media platforms and stuff, that reads well for the club in terms of the commerciality of him. Also, on the flip side, from Ozil's point of view, he's earning a shitload of money now, and you know what? He's in his comfort zone. So unless Emery's really going to shake him up, then I can't see him going anywhere. If he's going to continue to coast along, performing now and again when he feels like it, then it's an easy life for him and he'll wind down his career at Arsenal.
Well, I hope Emery does get it out of him, because at the end of the day, I don't want a brand. I want a player who's going to play for Arsenal.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want Mesut Ozil the brand. I want Mesut Ozil the assist king. I want to be making memes every week. How can I assist you? Hello, my name's Mesut Ozil. How can I assist you? All that kind of rubbish that we used to do.
That's right. But Stan Kroenke wants the brand. And that's why he got offered that sort of money, not because of his performances on the pitch.
Lee, Gary in the comment section reckons that Ozil's too soft for the Premier League, and I kind of agree with him there, to be honest.
100% agree with him. The league's too quick for him.
Yeah.
I also think that about Xhaka as well. Both of them players, if you look at them in the leagues they came from, granted Xhaka looked like a world beater in Germany, but that's because he's not going to have players right in front of his face as soon as he gets the ball. Do you know what I mean? Same with Ozil. Ozil looked fantastic. But I will say this about Ozil. When he played for Real Madrid, he had Jose Mourinho as his manager. And he was running up and down. He was tracking back. He'd put tackles in. He'd be physical with people. It comes to the Premier League, and it's the complete opposite. And then people say to me, I've been on this case for about 18 months now. I want to see performances like he put in against Atletico Madrid at home. He was the best player on the pitch by a country mile that night. And we don't see that often enough. And to throw 350 grand a week at this guy, that is going to come back to bite us seriously, because now we're in a situation where Aaron Ramsey is stalling on a contract and the negotiations are still going, because he knows what Ozil's on. So he's going, well, if he's on that, I want that. And, this is going to cause so many problems later down the road. If it was me, I would have flogged him in the summer or January or whenever it was that we could have got. Yeah, January, I think it was, when we could have got rid of him for a fee, or the summer before. But listen, if he turns out to be the player we signed from Real Madrid, then we've got a top draw midfielder. But he's been here 5.5 years now, and we've seen half a good season out of him.
Yeah, well, one good season. I'll give him that. When he got, when he nearly broke Thierry Henry's.
We give him the one good season where he got all the assists, but there's 4.5 that he just flatters to deceive. And to be on, like you said about his social medias and all that, like if you add it all up, it's ridiculous how many millions of followers he's got. He's got more followers on Twitter than Arsenal have. So he is on Twitter bigger than Arsenal Football Club, isn't he? So, I just look at it and I just think that £350,000 a week, I don't see it. 350 grand a week could have been used to go and buy 2 players that would do more than he would.
Yeah. Now I want to switch the topic over to the defence. Obviously, going 2-0 down in such quick succession is not, wasn't good. Lee's already touched on the Mustafi situation. Again, he's right. I can't fault really. I'm not going to fault Mustafi for getting turned and twisted and turned. Like Lee said, I'd like to see someone try that running backwards. But they came in for a lot of abuse. Mustafi, Socrates, Hector Bellerin again seems to be getting bad reviews. Harry, is it that Mustafi needs a new partner, or is it Socrates needs a new partner?
I think Socrates needs a new partner, to be honest. And the reason all summer I've always said that Socrates is an average footballer. I've always said that. I've watched him play many times for the Greek national team, and he's not a great footballer, but what he is he's a defender. He's a brute. He'll get in people's faces. You saw him in the last couple of games. He's made a few blocks where he's thrown his body in the way. We haven't seen that from an Arsenal defender for a long time. Yes. So in that sense, he will defend, but he's limited as a footballer. So if you want to play this football out from the back, then you need to understand that you need to adapt that a little bit. Jens Lehmann made a really interesting comment the other day when he was talking about this insistence on playing from the back. And he said, as a professional, you need to react to the game, not always have it in your head that you're going to do a certain thing. And at this point, I get that Emery's trying to stamp his authority and get them playing his way, but I feel like we're not equipped to do that at the moment. Socrates can defend, in my opinion. Mustafi, I think he'll improve. I don't think he's been that bad this season. I don't think any of them have, to be honest. I think Bellerin's been poor, but again, as much as I criticise him, because I do a lot, I feel as though he's been asked to play closer to the centre-halves than he's ever had to play before, in a more narrow position. And if you look at the games that we've played so far, we've been exposed wide. So what do? Do you have a more compact defence like Atletico Madrid do, and look at keeping it like that and tight? And it works in one way, but then when a team's got dangerous wingers, then you're also leaving yourself exposed there. So I don't know. I think it's too early to make a call on any of them. I think give them a bit of time, understand the new system, and see how they get on from there.
I agree with you. Lee, I want to go to you and talk about Petr Cech. Twitter going mad about Petr Cech, Lee. Oh, drop him. Got to play Leno. We've got to play Leno. Now, hang on a second. 1 second. He kept us in the game against Manchester City. Or kept the score down, should I say. He definitely kept us in the game Saturday. Pulling off, some great saves. He pulled off some great saves against Manchester City. Why all of a sudden are we judging Petr Cech on the way he passes a football?
That's a great question, Craig. Me personally, I would have had him as number 2 all season. That's just me.
Yeah.
For me, I would never have sold Chesney. He would have been number 1.
Oh, don't. You break my heart.
I know,
this is the Chesney union here.
Do you know what I mean? But I would never have flogged him, and I would have had Cech as number 2 last season. So, we've all got a different thought process behind it. Petr Cech, for me, it's not based... He has been good this season in the 2 games. Right? Yes, he nearly scored a great own goal. That would have gone down as the greatest own goal ever, I think, if that had gone in. But his shot stopping is never in question. We know he's a great shot stopper. He proved that again at the weekend. But it's horses for courses. If you're going to do this pass out from the back, Petr Cech's not the man. And you can't teach a 36, 37-year-old goalkeeper how to do something different when he's never done that in his career.
That, but doesn't he deserve a chance to adapt? Everyone else on the pitch is getting a chance to adapt. We're talking about Bellerin, Mustafi, Socrates. We're talking about Ozil. We're all talking about, they've got to get time to adapt. Isn't it fair to say then that Petr Cech's got to have a chance to adapt to the new tactics, surely?
Yes and no. And I don't sort of 100% buy into the fact that Bellerin, Mustafi, Xhaka and Ozil should be just thrown in and given a chance as well. Hector Bellerin against Man City was woeful. Hector Bellerin in the first half against Chelsea was woeful. Hector Bellerin for 18 months has been woeful. And just one thing I'll quickly say about him. Do you remember when we played Chelsea and he run about 50 yards back and called Pedro up a couple of seasons ago? or last season, whenever it was.
That's right.
What has happened to Hector Bellerin's pace? Where's his pace gone? Because Pedro left him for dead at the weekend.
It's that hair's weighing him down, I think.
Maybe it's his diet, mate.
I bet he's got all those, or he's got all his clothes on underneath his kit.
Yeah. But I just look at it and I just think if it's to the detriment of the team as an overall, then they shouldn't start. I mean, Petr Cech don't deserve to be dropped based on them 2 games. I'd start him against West Ham. And there is the other side you could look at of Leno's new to the club, is obviously coming in to try and be number 1. But do you throw him in against Man City and Chelsea as the first 2 games? Do you do that and totally ruin his confidence if he loses and makes a mistake and stuff like that? Whereas Petr Cech's been there, done it year in, year out for years now in this league. So, I kind of see why Cech started these 2 games. And let's be honest, other than a couple of dodgy passes out from the back, he's been good.
Yeah.
So, going forward, if he's playing well, which he has done in terms of shot stopping, which is his job, you can't drop him. No. And the players should keep the shirt on merit of their previous performance.
Leno hasn't. There must be a system put in place for the goalkeepers. Leno hasn't come here and said, Leno hasn't come to the meeting with Arsenal and Arsenal are going to say, right, this is what's going on. Petr Cech's going to be number 1. You're going to fight him for the number 1 spot. We've got what's the word I'm looking for? We've got ideas going forward. Petr Cech is 38 now. Or how old is he now? 37? 37 now. You'll be coming in Carling Cup games, Europa League games. And Leno's not going to agree to that if he's not up for that. Do you know what I mean? He knows what's going on. He knows that he's coming to Arsenal as number. What I'm trying to say is Leno knew he was coming here as number 2. I think.
But then why would you leave being number 1 at another club? I don't get it.
Well, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what's been said, do we? He's probably getting paid more. We don't know the conversation between club and player. I think there's a big master plan here for Leno. That he's coming here this year. He's gonna sit behind Petr Cech as number 1. He's going to learn off Cech. Cech's going to be his
mentor.
And then at the end of the season, or next season comes around, we've got Martinez as number 2 and Leno as number 1. That's what I think's happening at the moment. But don't get me wrong, Petr Cech's not undroppable. And
he's not.
Petr Cech knows that he's not undroppable. I think I've seen a better Petr Cech in these last 2 games than I've seen in the last 5 or 6 games last year.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. He was shocking most of last season. And he has been very good. Like the saves he made against Chelsea and City have been brilliant. Yeah. But what I like about our squad now is Bellerin, who has for the last 18 months, 2 years, been average, has now got a proper, experienced, proven right back that's won everything you can win in Italy. Now teaching him. Do you know what I mean? It's now up to Hector Bellerin to get better. Because if he ain't, then he's out the team. Cech the same. Cech's got a decent goalkeeper right up behind him now. If he makes a few mistakes, 2-3 games in a row, he'll be dropped.
Absolutely.
We've got the same in midfield with Torreira and Matteo. I can't get his name right out. We'll just call him Matteo. Yeah. So now he's started both games and played full 90 minutes in both games, whereas Aaron Ramsey, Ozil, Xhaka haven't played 90 minutes. So these players are all going to be kept on their toes this season, and Lacazette's been sat on the bench both games. But it's been refreshing to see that when we name a starting 11 and then we look at our substitutes, we've actually got quality on the bench now. Yeah, and that is massive thing going forward for us, because even if we get a couple of players injured, we've now got quality replacements coming in.
Yep.
But also what you guys were saying about, Petr Cech and the way that he's been now asked to play. What gets on my nerves is what makes people think that Bernd Leno is going to come in the team and not make mistakes playing that way. Because let's get one thing straight. Pep Guardiola went and spent an absolute fortune on Ederson because he was a specialist in playing this way. And didn't Ederson pass the ball straight to Mesut Ozil's feet last weekend? That style of football, that's right. There is a risk associated with playing that way with whoever the goalkeeper is. You see Manuel Neuer make mess-ups playing like that. It's a risky game, and any goalkeeper is at risk playing that way. So to drop check because of that, it would be silly in my opinion. So I completely agree with what you guys have said.
I mean, people are saying to me on Twitter, "Oh, Pep Guardiola, the first thing he did was he went and got a new goalkeeper and dropped Joe Hart." My answer to that is, how did that go? With Bravo.
I don't think he saved the shot.
I would have rather have kept Joe Hart. Yeah, I would have rather have kept Joe Hart than put Bravo in goal. Christ, he was rubbish. He was awful. So, I mean, swings and roundabouts. I just don't get the hate that Petr Cech is getting at the moment. Something very strange. I want to change the subject now and let's talk about this boy. This French boy from League Two, Matteo Guendouzi, again putting in a man of the match performance, Harry.
Yeah, I thought he was much better against Chelsea than he was against City. I know City are unbelievable at the moment and very difficult to handle, so I guess that played a part. I'm very cautious of not going overboard on Guendouzi, and I've said it on Twitter, and I got absolutely hammered the other day. You say one little thing and people make out as if I've called him crap. I haven't. I've said he's got bags of potential. In fact, that was the first line of my tweet. However, he is only 19 years old. Let's not put too much pressure on him, because the last time we saw a young midfielder break through that we all fell in love with, it was Jack Wilshere, and look what happened to him.
Absolutely. Lee, what would you say about Guendouzi? I mean, I ain't going overboard on him. Because I don't need to go overboard on him, because we can watch what he's doing. We can see what he's doing.
He's got no care in the world for anyone's reputation, mate. Yeah, like he was going into players at the weekend and just like having it with them. Do you know what I mean? And for somebody so young that was like in and out of the team last season in a League Two team in France, to come in and your first two games are the last two champions of England, and to put in shifts like that. And I see something earlier on Twitter that the first half he never misplaced a pass, 100% pass accuracy.
Yeah,
it's mad for somebody so young to come in and just like take to it like a duck to water. New league, new surroundings, big name players around you, big name players on the opposition team, and to
just doesn't faze him, does it? It just doesn't seem to faze. Nothing's phased.
I've seen everybody saying he reminds them of Petit and this and that. Right? I said at the weekend that I thought he's yes, I can see why people are saying that, but for me, he's a bit Fabregasy. Like every time you watch him, he's always looking around to see what's around him, so then he can drop into that little pocket of space. So then when the ball comes to him, he's got 5-6 yards of space around him. So then he can pick the right pass, knowing that he ain't going to give the ball away. And his range of passing was very Fabregas-like as well over the last two games. I'm not saying he's ever going to get near them two, Petit or Fabregas, by the way.
He could do.
Well, he could do, but that remains to be seen. But he has had an unbelievable start to his Arsenal career. And, mate, when you've got such a young lad playing in your team, the fans love it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, everything he was doing at the weekend. I think he clattered Hazard at one point, and that got a massive.
I mean, how long's it going to be when we see Arsenal away ends full of massive wigs?
Yep.
If there's anyone out there that makes wigs, I would start making Matteo Guendouzi ones if I was you, because it might make you a few quid. Just a quick one. Did you see his reaction to when? Did you both see his reaction to when Mkhitaryan? I mean, what more do you want out of a footballer? That reaction just goes and tells you everything about the kid.
That's right. He showed his passion, and obviously, he's living a dream at the moment. He's come to Arsenal, massive club. He's got himself straight in the team. He's played against, like you said, the last two Premier League champions. He's having a great time, and it means the world to him. You can see that. Just one thing on Guendouzi, which I heard the other day, and it absolutely made me laugh. For the love of me, I can't remember where I heard it, but someone was saying that Guendouzi's not actually that good. The fact is that it's his hair that attracts you to watching him. And he said, and he turned around and said that when you go in a club, you're automatically attracted to a blonde first because she catches your eye. Which she might not be nicer, but she just catches your eye. And he likened that to Guendouzi's hair. That because his hair flops around, maybe he looks a more attractive player than he actually is. And
I don't think so.
I found that hilarious.
No. I think it's a very good. It is very. I think we could shave his hair off, and he'd still be our best midfielder at the moment. A League Two, League Two, 19 years old, £7 million. Everyone's shouting for us to buy this fella and this fella for 100 million. He comes in and he's our best midfielder.
He was our best midfielder for both games as well, and maybe the bigger names in the team should have a little look at themselves and have a look at him, because they're getting paid a hell of a lot more money than he is, and he's put them all to shame in them 2 games.
Absolutely, right. Mate. Absolutely. Right, we're halfway through the show, so what we'll do is we're going to go to the comment box. If you've got some questions for us, type them in the comment box. Hello if you are watching on Facebook, hello if you're watching on Twitter, and hello if you are watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like the video, share it about. If you're watching it on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching it on Facebook, share it out, and all that malarkey. Harry, have you got any... Oh, no, sorry. Before we go on, a lot of people in the comment box are saying, where is Lee Judges? Well, let me tell you where Lee Judges is. Lee Judges is on a beach in America somewhere. Probably not right now. Might be in his hotel room. He said he was going to be watching. So if you are watching, I asked him to do a reaction video, right, for the Chelsea game. What does he do? Sends me a reaction video of him sitting on a beach, all bronzed up, Ray-Bans on, bottle of water. The camera pans round to him and he's like, all right, live from Cocoa Beach in America. I was like,
I hope he's got a factor 50 out.
Oh, mate, sitting like the Tandadonis on the beach. He really is the alpha male, is our Lee. So, Lee, if you're watching, hello, mate. I hope you're having a great holiday. And we'll see you when you get back. Lee is going to be in New York for the West Ham game. He's going to the New York Supporters Club. So if we've got any Americans watching and you live in New York and you want to meet Lee, get down to the New York Supporters Club. That's where he's going to be watching the West Ham game. And he's going to be there with Mike from Gooners in the USA podcast. So if you want to meet the boys, go down to the New York Supporters Club. I'm not too sure where it is or what the bar's called, but I'm sure if you do a little Google, it will tell you. Harry, have you picked out some questions?
Yes, I have. Let's have a look. There's quite a few, so let's have a look at these and pick which ones we want. This one's from Tone. At Tone 74662522. God, that's a long Twitter name. He says, do we have any genuinely world-class players in our opinion?
Wow.
I'm going to start off by saying no, we don't. We used to. Mesut Ozil used to be, but now, I don't know.
Is Aubameyang?
I agree. I don't think we have. Arguably Aubameyang.
But
it's not a definite, is it? But yeah, that's a great question, man. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people debating that.
Well, have we? I don't think we have we?
No.
The comment box here is filling up now. Guendouzi. Not yet, but he is going to be. No, Tone, I don't think we have, mate. And to say that is it's quite surprising, actually. I'm going through the team and I'm trying to rack my brains, just trying to find. No.
Full house then. Full house.
No, Tone, I don't think we have.
Next one is from Herbinio, which is at Herb Goonstar on Twitter. He says, was Ramsey starting on the bench versus Chavsky a direct sign that he is now on Senor Emery's naughty step? Hashtag sign the thing.
Sign the thing. I don't think so. I don't think so. I trust this manager wholeheartedly. I trust his teams. I trust the team he puts out at the moment. It won't be for another few years before I start questioning him. But no, I don't think so. But what I am hoping is that he signs it. He signs his contract pretty soon, because this is going to sound stupid, but it's 19 Mondays to go till Christmas. So that means there's only about 21 till the January transfer window. So he'd want to get signing. Am I worried? Am I worried about him leaving? I don't know. I don't want to lose him. I want him to sign a contract. But if he doesn't, would I be too bothered? I'm not too sure that I would be. Lee?
I agree. I trust the manager 100% at the minute. Not sure that he's on the naughty step necessarily, but I don't know. There could be a case to say there that he is. You know, didn't he get subbed against Man City? He came off against Man City, didn't he? And
but surely, going back to that question, that would be the wrong thing to do, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily. They might be saying to him, "Well, look, you ain't going to play, so you know, if you're not going to sign it, you'll sit on the bench all season."
Well, fair enough, yeah.
So maybe that would push him into signing.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Just quickly before Harry goes, I don't care if he stays or goes. To be honest, I wouldn't be too bothered if he left.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I wouldn't be overly fussed if he left. I think it's a sign of strength from the manager. He's showing him that, you know what, we don't need you. You can get pulled off 5 minutes into the second half of one game and start the following one on the bench. And that's a completely different approach to what we've seen in the past. So I'm not against that. Not against that at all. You know, if he doesn't want to stay, then see you later, mate. Like, I know Ramsey's been a good player for Arsenal, but he's not an Arsenal great, is he? Let's be fair.
No, well,
I don't know. He scored 2 cup final winners, lads.
Yeah, but is that enough? I don't think. Is it?
Stopped a 9-year trophy drought.
Is that enough to call him an Arsenal legend? I don't know.
Not for me.
Right, if you look back in the history books of Arsenal players that have scored cup final winners, they're all classed as legends now, yeah? So in 30 years' time, everyone will look back at Aaron Ramsey and say he stopped a 9-year trophy drought.
Okay, 30 years' time he might be a legend. In 30 years' time, but not now.
Yeah, but 30 years' time, what's the difference? Apart from he's retired.
Well, the difference is we look back on it and we discuss it. We say, oh, God, he was, what a legend. Is he a legend now? Do we say, are we worried? I mean, I'm not worried about him leaving. You're not worried about him leaving.
No.
Harry's not worried about him leaving.
I just think that as somebody who scores 2 cup final winning goals, there's not many players that get to play 1 cup final, let alone scoring one and then go and score in another, to win 2 trophies in them 3 or 4 years or whatever it was, 3 years, whatever. I'd say that goes down as legend status. I would. I'm not saying give him a statue or a stand.
What about if Giroud had scored the 2 winners?
Yeah, exactly the same, mate.
Yeah?
Even Czech could have come up and scored 2 headers.
All right, but
it's perfectly fine, mate. But I think I defy.
I'm probably getting rinsed in the comments for that.
Here's something a little bit controversial. I will look back at Alexis Sanchez as more of an Arsenal great for what he done during his time at the club than Aaron Ramsey, because for me, Alexis Sanchez is that player that top class player, one of the top players around that we had in our team. Aaron Ramsey's frustrated the hell out of me for years. And yes, there's been some great moments, but there's also been some shit ones as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, each to their own. I don't think he is scoring 2 cup final goals, in my own personal opinion, and I'm not having a go at Lee here, it's not something I'd look back on, in 30 years' time I might. But not now. I can't see. Nah, not for me. And again, I don't think if he left I'd be too bothered. Yeah, so I can't call him a legend if I'm saying that I wouldn't be bothered if he left. If that makes sense.
I get your point.
And I get yours too, sweetheart. And I get yours too.
We'll draw a line under it and move on.
Have we got time for another question?
Yes, we have. I've got to go to the comment section in a minute and get some. I think we've got a couple in. Yeah, get your questions in the comment box if you want them answered as from now.
Okay, this one's from Gooners in the USA podcast. And he says...
This is going to be absolutely nothing to do with football. Guaranteed.
He says, question for the panel. When you posted Lee Judge's naked beach video reaction to the Chelsea game, what software did you use to edit out the horrified screaming women in the background?
That would be Mike all over. No video editing software used there. He's what a man though, sitting on the beach, bottle of water in his hand, piss buin, spraying it on himself. Bottle of water, talking about the football, sitting on the beach.
I need to open up a dry cleaners, mate.
He's a man. I'm telling you. What a man. Right, let's have a look to see if we've got any questions in the comment box. Let's have a look. Can I scroll through these? No, I can't. Well, that's a bit of a bugger. Let's have a look here. Oh, here we go. If we had wingers, do you think the team would be more balanced? We are crying out for width, and that comes in from the Harry Thomas. Yes, mate, we are crying out for width. That's why last week I wanted to see Iwobi, because I thought against Manchester City, when he brought on Lacazette and he dropped Aubameyang to the left wing, we instantly created an outlet, and ultimately looked like scoring as soon as that little change was made. So I asked for Iwobi to come in as more of a natural player on the wing, and I think it worked, Harry, didn't it?
It did, but in answer to that question, I don't think width is a necessity. It depends on your system that you want to play. I think that Atletico Madrid are the prime example of a team that don't have width but are effective. And that's because they focus on the core of their team. The way they defend is based on having a narrow core. The way they attack is based on going through the middle. So it's nice to have both. It's nice to have options. But if the manager's overall philosophy is to play in a certain way and wingers aren't really a part of that, then it's not the end of the world. I think that's something that people just throw about because we haven't got someone that you would say is a recognised winger in the squad. Lee. You know, all those years we had Theo Walcott, who was a winger. He used to drift inside as well. So
poor old Theo. I don't know what went wrong with Theo. So much promise, but just and there's people on Twitter that will still tell you that they'd have him back, and I don't understand how or why. But poor old Theo. Lee Gunner, this one. Let's have one for you. Should Reece Nelson get a chance to play against West Ham?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I think he should.
On the wing, right wing.
Yeah. Funny enough, I would put him on the wing. Maybe even at number 10 and drop Ozil for a game. Maybe because that's where Reece Nelson's supposed to play, is number 10. That's his position. Yeah. But yeah, maybe try him there. Like I said earlier, Ozil's been disappointing in both games. Aaron Ramsey the same. So maybe give Reece Nelson a chance in that position. Just very quickly as well, just coming back onto the wingers question, I don't think we do need a winger. And I'll tell you the reason why, is because every single team in the Premier League, other than maybe Man City, play with inverted wingers. So what's the point? Because everyone cuts inside anyway and narrows the pitch down. So what is the point unless you were going to play with an out-and-out left-footed player on the left side and a right-footed player on the right side, which nobody does. So
it's the way the game's changed, though. Like, you don't see a big target man centre forward as often, which if you did have those players, then you'd need wingers for the service.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about tricky forwards like Aguero, people like that, that are going to get the ball turn and spin. Lacazette, for example, and having a winger that's going to just lump the ball in the box and get to the byline every 5 minutes is an outdated tactic. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, coming on to Sunday quickly. Will Emery, again, after the Manchester City game, he had some tough decisions to make. I think he's got even tougher ones to make now for West Ham. Is he going to stick with Mesut Ozil? Harry, what do you reckon? Has Emery got the bottle to say, nah, you didn't play very well against Chelsea? I'm going to do it this week. A lot of managers will say, look, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll start you again against West Ham, but you've got to show me more. How many times, as a football manager, said that to Mesut Ozil? Probably hundreds. Would you drop him?
No, not for the West Ham game. And the reason being, West Ham are going to give us a completely different problem to what we've had against City and Chelsea. Against City and Chelsea, we had two teams that were willing to come at us and bring the game to us. West Ham, in my opinion, are going to sit on the edge of their penalty area, try and keep things tight. And Mesut Ozil can be the key to unlocking a defence like that. In a game when you're playing on the counter-attack, then maybe Mesut Ozil isn't the greatest weapon. But for this type of game, and because I think Emery will be trying to get Ozil on side, I think he'll start on Saturday.
Lee, would you go along with that? Or
no, I wouldn't. I would drop him.
Who are you putting there, Ramsey?
No, I would put Reece Nelson there, mate. Nelson? Yeah, I think I would. I think I'd put Nelson there. And I'll tell you why, right? I don't think he's going to drop him, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think he will either.
But there's a reason why I would drop him, and it ain't just based on the fact he's been poor in the first 2 games. The first 2 games we've played were not physical, demanding. We weren't getting barged into by big lumps. Against West Ham, they are going to try and go through him every time he gets the ball. They're going to double up on him. They're going to be physical with him. And we see that when he plays teams like that, he just flops every single time. So we can't go into the 3rd game of the season after having lost 2 with another passenger. So I'd drop him. I'd let him sit on the bench. Maybe if we're winning the game comfortably, maybe give him a little 20-minute run out towards the end. But I'd go with somebody that's going to try and grasp his opportunity. And I thought in pre-season, Reece Nelson was fantastic. He scored a couple of goals, set up a couple of goals. You see him set up a goal in Dublin.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, his penalty was nice and all.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. He'll play with 100% on it for the badge because that's his opportunity to stake a claim in the team. So if he gets a chance, I hope he can get in this starting 11. Personally, I don't think he will, though. I think he probably will start Ozil. And no doubt he'll probably have a 10 out of 10 performance and everyone will be rating him again.
And then next week we'll all be calling him world class. Oh, yeah. Going back to that question we had last week, I'd just like to add Mesut Ozil. Yeah, that's probably right. What's going to happen? So let's get some quick score predictions in because we're running out of time here. Harry, what's your prediction, mate?
I am going to say 4-0 Arsenal.
Oh, I like that.
It's all going to click into gear. It's all going to click into gear.
It's got to happen sometime, isn't it? Lee, what are you going for, mate?
I'm going to go 5-1 because Arsenal always concede. And we'll probably concede first. The fans will start getting the and then we'll just go and blitz them. But I think we'll win 5-1. I think it'll be a walk in the park. They are absolute rubbish at the moment, West Ham. They've got way too many players. They're trying to chuck them all in. And he's under pressure if he loses that game. Both managers will be under pressure if we end up losing. So, I think 5-1, mate.
5-1. We're getting some predictions here. Colossal Chig says 3-1. Nigel. Hello, Nigel. Nigel actually runs our chat for us. He keeps all the bad people away. So thank you very much, Nigel, for doing that. Nigel thinks 3-0. Archie thinks 3-1 to the Arsenal. Lee Farrell thinks 1-1. And Danny from the Burke. Hello, Danny. How are you, mate? Danny says 3-0 to West Ham. Jack Wilshere hat-trick.
Block him.
Block him, yeah. Block him.
Can you imagine if Jack scored against us?
Oh, but can you imagine if they win 3-0 and he scores a hat-trick? Deary me. Right, so that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. I hope you like the new format. I wanted to try and bring this in last week, but the powers that be said that the gremlins that I had, but I've actually sorted it out. Unfortunately, Harry and Lee can't see what it's like or what you're seeing. Obviously, I can see it, but the boys can't. So hopefully they'll have a little look at that later on and let me know what they think about the new format. But I hope you like it. This is what we're going to be going with, because this allows me to stream out to 3 platforms at once. So I hope you like it. Getting some comments in. Yeah, good format. Yeah, we like it. Looks great. Lovely job. So you're all happy with it. That's perfect. My thanks to Harry. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all, mate. Always a pleasure. And Lee Gunner, great to talk to you again, mate. We haven't spoken for a while.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that. It's always nice to chat to you, Craig, and to you, mate. Harry.
Cheers, mate.
And I just got to say, mate, keep up your positive vibes, Lee, because I think a lot of people have changed their opinion on you over the last few weeks, haven't we?
Mate, to be honest, I don't care what anyone thinks of me.
No, I'm not saying that. You know what I mean. I think. I remember when I was watching your video for Man City, I was like that.
Do you know what was funny? After that, I shook Robbie's hand. I went, "You didn't expect me to come out with all that, did you?" We did have a good giggle at it, but no, I am positive. Listen, I can't for 7 years call for a manager to go and then start crying once he's gone. Yeah. So
right, yeah.
I'm going to stick with it all season, mate. We could end up 17th. I'll still back him for next season.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. I spent 5 or 6 years, calling for Wenger to go. And so, I'm intelligent enough not to not to start wanting this fella out after 2 games, But we have seen some of that on various social media platforms. But to you people, would you just calm down and just calm? 2 games, new manager, new coaches, new regime. Just calm down. Let's hope for a good result against West Ham, and we'll see you all next week. Until then, up the Arsenal.